Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Hey, before I start, can anybody that has 30 years or more, men or women, in the trades, in the business, stand up? Okay, ladies, these are the ladies that opened the door for you and the gentlemen that held it open. So we have to continue to walk through it. I am so proud to be here and so proud to be invited here to speak today. And Christy, you did such a great job. It's hard to follow up behind you. It really is. And they said you were nervous. It never changes, trust me. I've been in politics since 1993. It's even worse because I have no prepared remarks. I was asked today to come here and tell you how I got started. The most important thing is not how I got started, but where it led me. I can distinctly remember my mom and dad in their room, and I'm sitting in the dining room, and their bedroom was at the end of the kitchen, and he said, "Why do we want to send her to college? She's just like going to get married and have babies." So I thought, well, I guess I'll be working at Steak and Shake, where I worked all through high school, and lifeguarding the rest of my life. I had no focus. I knew not where I wanted to go. So I was working at a bank, and we'll have to give out a shout out to the bricklayers, because while I was working at that bank, my cousin's husband called me, and he was the business agent for the bricklayers in St. Louis at the time, and ended up being the international president, John Flynn. He said, "Would you like to work construction?" I'm like, "What does it pay?" He says, "Well, you'll probably make about $7 an hour," which looked wonderful to my $2.25. So I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." Had no idea what I was getting into. I worked with the elevator construction workers for a while, and they went on strike. I was on what they call permit. So I lost my job when the strike hit in the late 70s. I think part of the reason I lost it, too, was because I let go of a load of test weights, and it broadsided my partner's service vehicle, but it was probably a good thing. About 6 months later, I was at home, and my brothers were playing cards. Now, I'm the oldest, so they're supposed to listen to me, and they're talking about what I'm going to do. We got to find Gina a job. And one of my brother's friends said, I kind of like the construction. And Michael said, "My local will never take women." I thought, okay. The next Monday morning, I was at the Heat and Frost Insulators Hall, sitting in Larry Walsh's office, no relation to me, I might add, to fill out an application. And it was the late 70s, affirmative action. I knew they had to hire women, and the secretary said, "He's not here." And I said, "Okay." And I heard the back door slam. "No, he's not here now." So I sat there for 8 hours. He called 4 or 5 times, and he said, "Still there?" And I could hear her saying, "She's still here." So about 4:30 he came in, and Larry was a small man, and he's sitting there, and he looked like somebody that should have had a cigar sticking out of his mouth, and he talked out the side of his mouth, and he said, "Why do you want to do this?" I said, "Well, I don't want to make $4 an hour the rest of my life." I said, "I'm good with my hands. I enjoyed what I did before." And he said, "I'll tell you what, I know eventually we'll have to take somebody on, and maybe we'll call you." Never gave it another thought. Went back to work. I worked for the government, filling out income tax returns, and I got a call 6 months later. So I was taken in, and it was a very good job. I served my apprenticeship, kept my mouth shut for 4 years, and of course, 4 years and 1 day, I let them all know exactly what I thought of their behavior over the past 4 years. But I learned a craft. I learned a craft that was something they couldn't take away from me. But my mistake was that I treated this as, I was married. I had a couple little kids, and, if I'm not working, he's got a good job. He worked for Anheuser-Busch at a 6-figure job. Well, you know what? Not all jobs last, not even those kind of jobs, especially those kind of jobs. We woke up one day, and my job was our sole income. I had a craft, and I had the will to do it. And that was how my family got by. My kids didn't even miss a beat. They didn't know we went from 2 incomes to 1 income. And this craft in my union is what put my kids through school. It paid my health insurance. It's something that once you have it, they can't take it away from you. It's like a college degree. If you've got it, it's yours. And every woman in this room should hold on to it and hold it dear to their heart. Because in 2006, my life changed again. I was in Jefferson City. By then, I had served 4 years in the state legislature as a state representative, and we worked Monday through Thursday, just like the California legislature. Got a phone call on a Monday morning, said, you got to get back to St. Louis, your husband's had a heart attack. By the time I got back to St. Louis, my husband wasn't with us. His body was with us, and I had 3 young girls that I had to raise. I was so fortunate to be allowed to still be a member of the legislature. My local backed me up. My local made sure. When I came back from Jefferson City, I had a job and my benefits were taken care of. I was covered. I worked hours. Now, I worked Saturdays and Sundays to cover those hours, but I always had a job. I had a good paying job, and those kids got to go to college because I always worked. They took care of me. The moral of that is, they took care of me, but I took care of myself, as you have to. I learned my craft, and they couldn't take that from me. Contractors would call and ask for me because I wanted to go to work. I wanted to work safe, and I loved working. I loved doing what I did, and I loved the idea that in the construction industry for 2 months you might be someplace, and if you didn't like it, you're going on down the road to another job, to something different. And that's not something that everybody gets to do. A lot of folks are in the same place for years on end, in the same office, in the same chair. They might get different computers once in a while, but you know, it's my craft has been a gift to me. And I thank the mentors that gave it to me, and they were all men. They were my father, my cousin's husbands. Every one of them showed me what a union meant and what Union Strong meant. I didn't want another job if it didn't come from a union book. I appreciate you for having me here today, and do one thing for me. I didn't do it, and I want every woman out there to do it. Take care of your bodies. Your bodies aren't tools. Your tools are in the toolbox. Don't use your shoulders. Don't use your heads. Don't use your knees. Work smart and work safe, and you will enjoy a great retirement. Thank you.